we're smarter than you. We have a sit-in guest today for Peter, who could not make it for the recording. So this is Elijah White. Give a little bit of information about yourself.
My name is Elijah White. I'm 15 years old. I live in Grand Junction, Colorado, full of horrible Bronco fans, like David to my right. I know a lot about football. I've been raised around sports. My brother has introduced me, Nathaniel. He's introduced me into sports. I've been around it all the time. And I think I'm smarter than you. I think I'm smarter than Peter, most definitely. He's smarter than me.
That's a
but
good
I
intro.
think
I like
I'm
that
smarter
intro.
than you.
Why? Why do you think you're smarter than them?
I make really funny fantasy football names.
All right.
Good reason.
All right.
Good reason.
All right. We're gonna do our game picks starting Thursday night football. Atlanta Falcons are at Tampa Bay, and the Falcons are favored by 3 points on the road. Nathaniel, what do you know?
Taking the Falcons here. They are playing well. They're not throwing it away like they did last year after they started hot. Tampa Bay also hasn't looked very good this year. Offensively, they were a mess against the Raiders this past week, even being handed 200 penalty yards, not including all the yardage that was brought back on the Raiders' penalties. On an NFL record, 23 penalties.
I knew that was going to come up.
We'll talk more when we get there. The Falcons are going to win this football game. Yeah, I don't even see it being that close. They're a better team. Falcons. Elijah.
I'm taking the Falcons, most definitely because they are the number one offense in the league, leading with 3,402 yards. Matt Ryan is blowing up. Julio Jones is doing great. That's pretty much it.
Man, it's going to be a sweep for this one. The Buccaneers just don't have anything to show for this to go in their way.
Fair enough. The Jags traveling up to Kansas City, Missouri, Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a whopping 8-point favorites at home. Elijah, how do you feel about this game?
Oh, I'm most definitely going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Alex Smith is out, but I believe in Nick Foles.
Alex Smith is out for this game.
I think Nick Foles is amazing. That's a great backup for them. And most definitely because Jacksonville has no idea what they're doing right now. And Kansas City's on a roll, so.
This is a lot of points, though, for considering that Alex Smith is out of this game.
It is.
Yeah. But I am still going to take the Chiefs because Jacksonville can't do this. I'm pretty excited to see what Charkandrick West does.
That's so annoying. Yeah, I tried to pick him up too.
I know you did. Anyway.
I drafted him.
Anyway, yeah, so his projections bumped up to like 15 points. And so, yeah, but Chiefs.
Dang. Yeah, try to pick up Charkandrick, can't. Waiver wire sucks. No, the Jags looked abysmal against the Tennessee Titans last week on Thursday Night Football. Their defense didn't get a single quarterback hit on Marcus Mariota. Tennessee's offensive line is very good, probably a little bit better than Kansas City's, but Kansas City's a much more well-rounded football team than Tennessee. Kansas City's going to handle this game. They're going to play the clock. Even with Nick Foles, he showed it wasn't going to be a problem for him to score points last week. Kansas City,
their offense doesn't ask quarterbacks to do anything.
No,
anyway,
they really don't. If anything, I mean, there's areas that Nick Foles excels in that maybe
better than
Alex Smith doesn't. I'm not saying that he's a better quarterback, just certain aspects.
He might
of his
throw
game.
the ball a little better though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Elijah.
All right, the Detroit Lions travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. They are favored by 6.5 points.
Yeah, the Vikings are 6.5 home favorites.
So,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So, this is an interesting game. The Vikings have had just kind of a turn of events. I'm going to go with the Lions on this game. I don't like the 6.5 favor. I think that's too much for considering all the things that are changing in the Vikings environment. Injuries, we got a new offensive coordinator. Not that changes the game completely, but it makes things a little different. And they just came off a loss, so which I picked them to lose that game. I am going to take the Lions and the points in this game.
I think that's a perfectly solid pick, especially with quite a considerable point spread. However, I'm going to take the Vikings. They're better. They are a better football team than they've played the last couple of weeks. I think they'll get back on track. Their offensive line's having issues with injuries. Their running game has been kind of shoddy, not being able to turn to either
Turnovers.
McKinnon or Asiata. And that's the thing. They need to limit turnovers. That's why they were winning games earlier in the season, because Sam Bradford was taking care of the football, limiting turnovers. I'm taking the Vikings at home. It's a division game. Those are always tough. Going to give it to the home team in the Vikings, coming off 2 losses. Vikings at home in a relatively close game.
I pick the Detroit Lions.
Going with me.
Unlike Peter Gullickson, I do not believe in Sam Bradford, and I also think Aaron Rodgers is better than Sam Bradford.
Thank you.
I believe in Matthew Stafford. He can most definitely possibly be.
Most definitely, possibly.
Yeah, I'm trying to describe him. The best quarterback in the NFL. That's how much I believe
Over
in him.
Tom Brady.
Well, other than Tom Brady.
Possibly.
Over Derek Carr.
Over
Matt Ryan.
Yes.
Over
Yes.
Breeze. Over Rivers. Over Wilson. Over
Yes.
Rodgers.
Yes.
Over Cousins.
Yes.
Okay. Over Luck.
I think Matthew Stafford is a great quarterback.
Yeah, he's had a phenomenal season, breaking out late bloomer. Great season. All right, Lions.
Alrighty. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to New York to take on the Giants. And the Giants are favored by 3 points at home, which is an interesting stat. Nathaniel, what is your take?
You know, I gotta throw some love Kramer's way, our number 1 fan. I'm picking the Giants. I've been pretty hard on them this year. They've been pretty up and down. The Eagles are a very solid football team and they stay in games. However, I'm taking the Giants at home. I think their offense is pretty explosive. Their defense, I think, will start to gel with their free agent acquisitions they brought in over the summer, and Harrison, Leon Hall, Olivier Vernon, all those guys. I think they'll start to gel in a division game at home, New York.
I pick, this is a tough one. The Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz is great. He's proved it so far. I just don't believe in the Giants, honestly. They're shaky. We're going with the Eagles.
You're shaky.
Giants are not going to win this game. The Eagles have been, they just, in a game where turnovers happen, they seem to win, even with giving up enough turnovers themselves, specifically against the Vikings 2 weeks back. The Giants are not so much in that favor. I think it's going to be way more points than 3. It's going to be a blowout in a sense.
That's fair.
Philadelphia.
Alrighty, Dallas up in Cleveland. They are a 7.5 favorite on the road, and that might be generous because Dallas is going to handle Cleveland in this game. Dallas has, I think, a style of play that is going to just destroy the Cleveland Browns. They hold on to the ball, they don't turn it over. They're just going to grind the clock out on them. Zeke's going to have 150 plus yards. Dallas wins this game decisively.
Obviously, I picked the Dallas Cowboys. The Cleveland Browns are a disgrace to the NFL.
Ouch.
I apologize.
Oh, no. I mean, can you really get that worked up about it, though? It's like,
This is the easiest pick for me. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott's on a roll. He's doing great, especially Ezekiel Elliott. Best offensive line in the league. Definitely going with Dallas Cowboys.
I think this is going to be the Cleveland Browns game. Every team has to win a game in a
you
season.
sound like Peter. Peter, now that you're gone, David's
I
going to
have
take
to fill
over
it.
for
I have to
crazy
fill a ridiculous
theories.
role. No, but
I could
seriously,
see them winning with the
they
backdoor
have to
cover, but I don't see them winning the football game.
They have to win this. They have to win a game, and Dallas is going to lose a game that everybody doesn't think they're going to lose. I think this might be that game. This is the upset game. I'm going with the upset. 7.5 points.
Upset
for the
alert.
Browns.
Fair enough. Upset alert. The Jets down in Miami to face the Finns, the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites at home. This is a weird game for me. I have a hard time picking
These
the
games
Jets
are
games.
tough.
If you'll recall last week, it took me a second to really sit back and take all this in. I'm going to take the Dolphins coming off a bye week simply because I think they're starting to pick it up. Their offensive coordinator's done a much better job, Adam Gase, down there. I think Jay gets rolling. The Jets have a very good defensive line. However, I think that they're going to just keep it rolling against them. Don't love the pick, but I think Miami stays on their current trend and beats the Jets at home.
What do you know?
This is a very tough one for me. I'm going with the New York Jets.
On the road.
Yes. Just mostly because of Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's infuriated that he was benched. He came to the press and he announced in some pretty harsh words that he was upset. And I think he's going to pick up his game and he's going to take it to the Dolphins.
I think it's going to be the Dolphins in this game. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be like in the 20s, and it's going to come down to the last quarter. But the 3.5 points is a good call. I'd take the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's a hard game. Dolphins are kind of a...
Pittsburgh traveling to Baltimore. These games are always interesting.
Yes.
For multiple reasons.
AFC North football.
Yeah, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. It's a very, very much interesting rivalry. There is no line on this game, and that is because Big Ben is undetermined.
Big Ben, I looked it up. He is on track to start against the Ravens, according to rotoworld.com.
So that changes things a little bit in this favor, but it's still one of those grindy, nasty games. What do you know?
Great game. I'm taking Pittsburgh. They're on the road. They're a little banged up. But they're a better football team right now than the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens have dropped 4 straight games after starting the season 3-0.
Which is what they should have.
Their running game briefly got back on track with Terrence West against some bad football teams. Kenneth Dixon should be healthy now coming out of their bye. But I just see Pittsburgh winning this game. They're more explosive than the Ravens. I don't know if the Ravens can necessarily keep up with Pittsburgh's offense if Big Ben plays. Still taking them if he doesn't. I think it'll be a pretty large win if he does. Pittsburgh on the road, tough game. AFC North, great division, except for the Browns. But poor Browns. Yeah, Pittsburgh on the road.
I am also going with Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. Even if Ben Roethlisberger's out, I have zero respect for Landry Jones though. If I was the Steelers, go pick up Bruce Gronkowski again, please.
That's like the most irrelevant shout out of all time.
I think he's a great backup. Definitely taking the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. David.
Yeah, I have to take the Steelers too, even though I don't want to. I don't want them to win necessarily, but I am going to take the Steelers. This game will be an interesting one, a fun one to watch, because Baltimore never fails on these games. That's my pick.
Okay. The first of the 4 o'clock games, the Saints at the 49ers. Saints are 3-point favorites on the road. Elijah.
Definitely taking the Saints here. I'll show a little bit more respect once Colin Kaepernick stands up. Drew Brees.
Is that to play? Is it stands up to throw in the pocket or stands up?
Both.
Gets off the ground. Stop getting hit every other play, which is his fault because he's holding on the ball too long and trying to extend plays.
Yeah.
Definitely taking the Saints. I have so much respect for Drew Brees. Brandon Cooks is doing great. San Francisco sucks. There you go.
Dang. Okay, David.
Yeah, I'm not going to be that harsh. I'm not a fan of Colin Kaepernick by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to go... let me just credit... Colin Kaepernick had some success early in his career.
It's a very good team.
I credit that to a coach and a team that was on fire, not to him. I'm taking the Saints. Any points.
It's just a third sweep, I think, guys.
Yeah.
I'm also taking the Saints. They had a decisive win against Seattle last week. Granted, Seattle's offense hasn't looked great. Their offensive line is putrid. But it shows me something that the New Orleans defense can step up in a big game against a conference rival and win. And their offense is explosive as always. Michael Thomas has really started to turn it up, as well as Cooks and Snead's kind of tailed off a little bit, but I mean, they have a pretty potent passing attack. Last week's game was a little weird with Mark Ingram and Tim Hightower's situation. Watch that going forward in regards to fantasy. But I'm taking the Saints on the road. The 49ers haven't really showed me anything this year. They may be the worst team in the league, including Cleveland. Saints. Elijah.
All right, the Carolina Panthers travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams.
Panthers are favored by 3 on the road. This is one of those ones. It's gonna be interesting. Panthers seemed to prove me a little wrong last week, but at the same time, they're not. They haven't proven that they're a solid team over a stretch of time.
Yeah.
I like the Rams at home. I think that they can do some things better than the Panthers this year. That they've proven that they will.
It's a tough one for you, isn't
I
it?
know it is. I wanted to. Yeah, just give me the points. Three points on this.
So you're taking the Rams, just
Yeah.
to clarify. Cool. I am not. I'm taking the 2-5 Carolina Panthers.
The Rams aren't that much better.
I believe they're a more talented football team than the Los Angeles Rams. Their defense played very well last week against Arizona, who is a pretty explosive offense, has a lot of pieces. They essentially shut down the running game in David Johnson, who may be the best running back in the league currently. The Rams have some pieces. They have some blue chip players, particularly on defense. But the Panthers are a more well-rounded team this year, despite their record being worse than the Rams this season. So Panthers on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am taking the Los Angeles Rams.
Ouch.
Another shout out. Please start Jared Goff. Case Keenum has no idea what he's doing.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have any idea what
Get
he's
him
doing.
out of there.
No.
And Cam Newton,
He's not like he's
stop complaining about the refs. You don't know the struggle until you are a Raiders fan.
Oh my gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I do
Los
like,
Angeles Rams.
I do like that he got on the phone with Roger Goodell, and I'm sure it went very well. Probably nothing actually happened. If we all picked that game, yeah, we have. Indianapolis Colts travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers. This is a fun game. It'll be a fun game to watch.
If Andrew Luck survives.
Yes.
And that kind of tells you my answer. Until they can protect him, it's kind of the same Seattle thing, except Seattle's defense is worlds better than Indianapolis is. I'm taking Green Bay at home. They're favored by 7 at home. They're starting to roll. Aaron Rodgers looked really good last week. Actually, probably the last 2 weeks he's looked really good. Running game still a little shaky. Got some guys injured, banged up, but they're making it work. And the Colts, I just don't believe in.
Did you try to pick up Devontae Adams in free agency?
Yes, I tried to pick up Devontae Adams. I tried to pick up Ty Montgomery. I just can't get anyone.
I got Devontae Adams.
I know you did. I saw it. Anyway, it's Green Bay at home.
I pick Indianapolis.
You just love picking against me.
I do, because I do not agree with you. Andrew Luck, right beside Matthew Stafford. Next best thing that's happened. Next best thing that's happened ever since Tom Brady, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree with you.
Andrew,
but if you don't have a team,
do not overlook Andrew Luck.
They don't have any. Who's their starting running back? Oh, I guess it's score. Name their top 3 receivers.
T.Y. Hilton.
Who else?
Some white guy, I don't know.
Oh gosh.
All right, we're moving on.
The Colts don't have a team.
I am going to take the Packers in this game. For obvious reasons, they're at home. It's starting to get a little colder up there. Things are going to be kind of against the Colts.
Peter would yell at you for saying that.
I know he would, yeah.
Don't look at me like that.
It's a social construct. Preconceived notions.
You just have this thing in your head, air.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, I take the Packers. Let's move on.
Elijah, next game. Start us off.
All right, the Tennessee Titans travel to beautiful, sunny San Diego to take on the Chargers, who are favored by 5.
I'm going to go with the Titans in this game. I think it's going to be time. San Diego's gotten some wins, and albeit they've gotten some wins against teams that are pretty good. But I think that with all these injuries adding up, I think there's got to be a time when things start to fall down further than they have. Taking the Titans.
This one's really tough for me. San Diego.
Titans have a better defense than
I think San Diego's defense is pretty underrated. Got some guys who may not be the largest names, but they play really well, kind of like Dallas's defense. This one's tough for me. They're both kind of grinded out, play the clock football teams. I'm going to take San Diego at home. The point spread I'm not in love with, but I think they're a more established veteran team. And the Tennessee Titans have been rolling, but they're kind of inconsistent for me. They're solid. They're not an easy out. Their running game has been really, really good this year. Their offensive line I kind of shouted out earlier, and then their 2 running backs, Murray and Henry. Henry getting, his first real touches last week. I'm going to take the Chargers at home. Don't love it. I think it'll be a tight football game, but Chargers.
Again, I am disagreeing with you, Nathaniel. I am picking the Tennessee Titans. Marigoda. Oh, Marigoda.
Marigoda?
He's GOAT. Greatest of all time. Just kidding. He's not that good. DeMarco Murray, you're doing amazing. Derrick Henry, starting to get rolling. I believe in the Titans. I think that this is their starting of their rebuilding process and that they can just keep building off of this season. I don't necessarily think that they are a playoff team this season, but they're making progress.
Maybe in the AFC South, you never know.
All right, let's get to the game that everybody cares about.
The game that matters. The only game that matters this week
that matters at all, and it's a pick'em game. Denver at Oakland. It's Sunday Night Football, and we get to hear Carrie Underwear sing.
Carrie Underwear? Is that what you said?
Carrie Underwear.
Why?
Sing her opening tune.
Oh. And we get to
lead us off.
I don't even like
we get to see David Roberts in an Oakland Raiders jersey.
To clarify, the Golden State Warriors were down 3-1 in the Oklahoma City Thunder. We made a bet with David.
I solely made a bet.
Elijah made a bet with David.
He told me not to make the bet.
Well, I told him not to make the bet, but I told him if any team could come back from a 3-1 deficit, it was the Golden State Warriors. They did. David's got to wear some Raider garb this week. And it's going to be great. We'll take lots of pictures, post them.
I will be wearing Broncos hat on top.
You can't do it.
There was no stipulations.
Nope.
In the such. You said I had to wear
that ruins
a Raiders jersey.
That
I'm not gonna wear. No.
That ruins the integrity of the thing.
We didn't sign a contract.
Look like a noob. Okay.
3-1.
I'd like to close this one. So Elijah, go ahead. Start us off.
Right.
Oakland Raiders, baby. Just win, baby. Let's go. We're taking on the Denver Broncos. Trevor Simeon's overrated. They have a great defense, whatever. I don't believe in Trevor Simeon. C.J. Anderson's out. Devontae Booker's looking okay, but Oakland Raiders, baby. Derek Carr, I believe in you so much. Crabtree, about the fourth best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Stats-wise. And then Amari Cooper about the sixth. Stats-wise.
I'm a Raider fan.
Stats-wise. You got to look at the stats.
You guys have had inflated stats.
I think that we have the best offense in the NFL.
I think you're wrong, and let me explain why. The Denver Broncos currently are the second best defense in the league. That's going to change. I think they're going to end the season as number one.
Who's number one currently? Minnesota?
Minnesota still is, yeah. So, my point to that is the only team that you guys have played that was better than 19th ranked defense overall was the Baltimore Ravens, and you guys only won that game by a point, which ended up being a touchdown in the last quarter of the game. If I'm correct.
Superstar defenses have the Broncos played?
The superstar, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Raiders passing game. The Raiders are not going to be able to score 25 points on the Broncos. The Broncos have limited teams to an average of 17 points a game this year on average, and the Raiders will not get past the Broncos on this game.
Okay. I thoroughly disagree. However, I will say the Broncos' passing defense is phenomenal. 3 great corners, some great safeties back there in Ward and Stewart. Pass rush makes it even harder, doesn't give Derek Carr a lot of time. But Derek Carr doesn't need a lot of time, baby, because he might be the best quarterback in the league.
That is correct.
Tom Brady's still the GOAT. The Raiders' offensive line is so phenomenal this year, giving up very, very few sacks, particularly in the pass game. I think this is going to be a battle. It's going to be close. To clarify, it is a pick'em game, so there's no line, pick your team. It's going to be a great game, potentially the game of the year. The Raiders are at home. Really, really important game for us to win. Maybe the most important game since 2002 to 2003 when we went to the Super Bowl, because it's been kind of irrelevant since then. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be great, and I'm so excited. Sunday night football.
One thing too. I think it's the first time in 15 years or so, if I remember right, I think it's 15 years that the Broncos and the Raiders have played on Sunday night, because they used to play on Monday Night Football when they played on the primetime game. So this is going to be back to the old times.
Absolutely.
Which favors the Raiders,
excited.
but what do you take?
The one thing, just to clarify, I don't believe in the Broncos offense, and the Raiders defense the last several weeks has really started to click. We really limited Tampa Bay, who may not be the most potent offense, same with Jacksonville, but we really shut them down, especially when it's needed. Derek Carr is incredibly clutch. It's going to be a tight game. You got to give the Broncos defense some respect in a division game. Tough matchup. I'm taking the Raiders. Sweet, boys.
All right, Buffalo at Seattle. This could be a good game as well.
I think
this is
this
Monday
will be
Night
a good
Football. Interesting things have happened. Let me make one more note,
Sure.
just from the Broncos-Raiders game. The last 3 Sunday Night Football games have ended in a tie.
Really? Wait, are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Wait,
No.
I think there's only been 2 ties this year.
Yeah.
The Redskins and then the Seahawks and Cardinals.
You might be right. No, they've ended in overtime.
Oh,
That's what it is, sorry.
okay. That's interesting.
2 of them have ended in a tie.
Nice. Sweet.
All right, I will start with this one. I am picking the Seattle Seahawks.
The Seahawks are favored 7 at home, by the way.
I have way too much respect for the Seattle Seahawks, and I have way too much non-respect for Rex Ryan and Tyrod Taylor and the Bills in general. The Seahawks are great. Russell Wilson's doing great. Christine Michael's starting to do amazing. That's all I got.
David?
Bills are going to win this game. There's just too much. I think Seattle's coming off a loss. It's time to hit them while they're down. I think it's going to be the Bills.
Okay. Simple as that. I actually think this is going to be a really good game. Buffalo is a scrappier team than you'd think. I'm still taking Seattle. The 7 points is a little scary. I could see the backdoor cover with the Bills. I still think Seattle will win this football game by more than 7. They're at home. It's a really, really tough place to play with the 12th fan and everything going on up there. And they got to get back on track at some point. They're a very talented team. Russell Wilson's been playing hurt. That'd be my one concern, is between him playing hurt, loss of mobility, the receiving game hasn't been very good this year where it was last year. But, very similar story to last year where they kind of started off slow, losing some games that they should win, and then they exploded down the stretch. Russell Wilson probably had the best second half of football of any quarterback in the league. I'm taking Seattle at home on Monday Night Football. And that concludes our Week 9 game